My group that I'm focusing on in my research, and the group that I'm focusing on today, are young women from slaveholding secessionist families. They were from families who occupied the top 10% of the wealthy in the South, and of course owned the majority of the wealth in the South. Most of these girls were born between 1843 and 1849, so they were between 12 and 18 when the war broke out. Basically, that period, that formative period of a young woman's life, that's really the stage where they are during this time. I've included also some other women, just for this talk, some other women that I've uncovered who are just a little bit outside of the parameters of that age group, but are still single, young women living at home. And I just found some really interesting stories from them, so I had to include that for today. These young women only knew of a world that was swept up in regional conflict over the fate of slavery in the new territories won after war with Mexico. Moreover, these young women came from a socioeconomic group that was very much of privilege. And of course, this privileged life was afforded to them because their fathers were very much engaged in commercial agriculture and, of course, highly invested in the slave institution. So the question that I'm supposed to respond to today is, what was their view of Lincoln and the North? Well, plain and simple, they despised them both. Absolutely. But the reasons why are not so plain and simple. In fact, they're rather complex. And how did these young women express their sentiment towards Lincoln and the North, I think, is even more fascinating.